The end of the game occurs at the end of the player's turn, in which the future card either is gained by that player or it enters the marketplace. The win condition is the player with the most victory points at the end of the game, and they're going to gain 1 victory point for every culture production icon that they have. And they're also going to gain 1 point for every 2 other production icons that they have. Plus, they're also going to gain additional victory points at the end of the game for cards which have at the end of the game, you gain this amount of additional victory points. In order to set up the game, each player is going to take 4 resource tokens, 1 reference card, 1 player marker. They're also going to take 1 randomized starting government card. And then the rest of the nation cards are going to be divided up into the 5 different ages. Those piles are going to be randomized, but on the 5th age, the last 2 cards are going to be the internet card and then the future card. Additionally, there are some starting cards that will be placed into the marketplace. All of the remaining resource tokens will be placed into the reserve, and then there will be an area that will be designated as a supply for resource tokens to be put into and taken out and distributed to players. As far as gameplay goes, there's essentially 2 different phases that will take place during a player's turn. During their first action phase, they're going to select just 1 action from a total of 5 different ones, and then they're going to then move into the second phase, which is the cleanup. During the cleanup, any cards that were purchased or completed or gained from the marketplace will be replenished by the current age cards, and then you're going to do a check as well, and any cards that are 2 ages or older that haven't been invested in yet will be discarded and then replenished again from the current age. And then after all that's taken place, then the next player going clockwise will take their turn. During the action phase, a player may choose to invest into one of the cards in the marketplace, and they do so by placing their player marker on top of a card that has not already been invested in by another player. And they also will put a number of resource tokens, it has to be at least 1, onto the card. Alternatively, a player can choose to complete a card that they've previously invested in. In doing so, they're going to move all of the previously bid resource tokens into the supply. Then they're going to look at the investor bonus, whatever icon that is targeting. They're going to look down at all of their other nation cards and see tally up that targeted production icon. They're going to take 1 resource for each of those icons from the supply. Then they're going to gain that card, and when they gain the card, that's going to also then trigger any type of instant effect, attack, or an attack all effect. A player may choose to snipe another player who's already previously invested in a card by paying the investor a number of resources equal to what they had previously bid on the card. Then any resources that are actually on the card will be moved to the supply. Then the investing player will then take resources from the supply equal to the total number of trade production icons that they have in their nation. And then they will then take 1/2 of the resources left in the supply, rounded down, and then the sniping player will then take the card and trigger any instant attack or attack all effects from the card from gaining it. Alternatively, a player may actually use their action to activate one of their nation cards, which has the turn action icon, the little gear symbol, on one of their nation cards. The final action a player can do is to harvest. So when you harvest, the player is going to add a number of resources from the reserve into the supply equal to the number of harvest icons that player has on all of their nation cards. Then that player is going to take 1/2 of all of the resources from the supply, and then you're going to do a little check and see if your total number of resources is less than the age that you're in. You're going to then take resources from the supply and then from the reserve so that you at least have the same number of resources as the current age. Generally, there are 6 different types of civilization cards that you'll be acquiring from the marketplace in order to build your nation. Whenever you gain one of the cards of the same type, it's going to cover up your previous card of that type that you had, and you're going to lose your former type of effect that it provided, but you're going to gain the new card's effect as well. You're always going to keep your production icons that are on the bottom banner of the card, though. The yellow cards, leader cards, you can only ever have 1 of those, so anytime you acquire a new one, your old one will get discarded or removed from the game. And then the black cards are the wonder cards. They provide a lot of extra victory points towards the end of the game, and those do not stack. And so some of those have additional benefits and production icons that you will continue to get for every card that you acquire. When you gain a card, sometimes the instant effect indicates that there will be an attack a target player or attack all players, in which case the attacking player is going to add up all of their attack icons and compare it against the defending player or players, both attack and defense icons. And if the attacking player's military strength is higher than the defending player's, then you're going to apply whatever that attack's effect was towards either the target player or towards all players, depending on the type of attack.